All right, let's move on forward here.
Okay.
These guys were basically for this very brief sequence that just transpired. The code was broken so that they couldn't move. Uh, and it's funny. It's been so long. I can't remember uh, what was reshot and what was done that night because I did do a couple of reshoots for some of this.
And the funny thing is, their AI. I mean, they'll attack the first person that attacks them. So if you're standing there, not doing anything, and someone's shooting at them, they'll fight them off first, which is cool.
It's lucky for us because
Yeah, it is.
it
And this
made.
here scene, oh, you got to stop. You got to pause this. You
Oh
got to
yeah.
tell them how you did that, Steve.
Well, that is there are what is it? 7 or 8
Roll it back a
maps.
couple of frames there.
Let's
Just to, yeah.
let me see here.
Now the polymer lighting is really superb in this. I mean, it just gives the explosions that lighting that you just don't see in the original Duke 3D, and this totally blows away anything that I've ever seen before as far as exploding. Look at this; it's just awesome.
well, the thing too is we had to do it. I forget how many times to get because I did add in some fake explosions to give it more punch, but we had to shoot the same pass from different angles about 5 or 6 times with different setups.
Yeah, I do believe I recall. I think there were about 6 or 7 maps files that we used for each one of these sequences.
And that's pain. That's lots of pain. And one of them was just the dead bodies because the explosions take all the aliens out, and it wouldn't make the money shot, if you will, worthwhile because the room would be empty.
Yeah, yeah, we have a punchline for this one. If everybody can see in the corner there, there is that game, Balls of Steel, and without Duke to lead into to the next line, those bodies had to be there. So they blew up, but he actually put them in there at the very last second, and he left them, and it looks great.
Which incidentally, my brother laughed his ass off at that scene because he's like, "That is so totally edited." And I'm like, "Yeah, exactly."
And for all those people who aren't familiar with what Duke is singing here, well, it's an old song by The Who called Pinball Wizard. And that is a quote, a line directly from the song that he sings.
And here's a favorite little effect that everybody liked, just to show the cinematic nature of it with the sound. The pipe bomb that goes left of camera, it has a nice echo on it because it's going down to that hole, but there's no sound, so it was done in post. So
Right. Well, what people don't understand, maybe, but it was done after all the shooting was done here. He had added that in there, painstakingly so.
because ultimately none of the sound was actually recorded. The reason for that is because the sound in the particular version of the game that we use is, for me, screwed up because I'm running Windows 7, and that does not lend itself to these older versions because they're before a particular sound patch was implemented to catch up and make it compatible.
And not only that, but I mean, during this filming, there is a lot of direction that we had to do on the fly, and we both communicate through Yahoo Messenger here with a computer-to-computer phone call, let's say, and this is how we communicate while we're doing this from one end of the country to the other. I'm in New York and he's in Washington, and yeah, we would have picked up those sounds too, like make a left move over here and shoot that alien, things like that we wanted to eliminate, so there was no sound recorded at the time.
But that is our first test, and it was I'm happy to say, a glowing success. We're at over 16,000 views on the non HD version you have uploaded to your channel, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, exactly. Yes, it did go over well, and people were waiting for another one to this. While you were away, what were you in Mozambique or something, filming some animal documentation? I forget what it was.
Yes. Let's just make fun of a man's pain. You know.
So I did, I did go ahead and do my own thing, but it's irrelevant to this because this is more uh, of, the guts and the glory of Duke Nukem in here, blowing things up to Kingdom Come. We love.
We love our death and
And
destruction.
speaking of Duke, I think we should mention, that, well, everybody seems to be happy with Duke Nukem Forever, but since they didn't give us, modding tools to do anything that we wanted to do in that, we would have liked to maybe do a couple of segments from Duke Nukem Forever. But you know what? We'll keep it with Duke Nukem 3D because that's the important game to us, to me anyway.
Oh yeah, no, Forever is it is an ode to Duke 3D, and that tells you something. Duke 3D's wearing the pants, and Duke Forever's kind of on its knees before 3D, saying, "Thank you for this legacy."
Yes, and on that note, I think we should let everybody know that not only that we do this for fun and we like doing it and we like the people's reaction to it, but it is a tribute to Duke Nukem the game, and let's throw that in with John St. John, who is the great voice of Duke Nukem. Without him, I think the game would have definitely sucked in a big way. So this goes out to that in mind. I'd like to just let everybody know that that's how we feel about it.
Oh yeah, no, and the funny thing is, a lot of people don't realize. Well, I mean, maybe they do, but it never really occurred to me until 2009, just before we made the animated test, ironically, when 3D Realms had to let everybody go and the dream seemed to have died. Just how many people that were adults waiting for Duke Forever were actually kids playing Duke 3D. I was 8 years old when I was first exposed to the Duke, so it's for some of
You're
us.
corrupted at an early age, my son.
Yes, yes. Well, that's the funny thing is everyone's so concerned with violent video games and adult content and stuff, but me, I just latched onto the idea of this really badass, charismatic guy kicking ass, and that's what I always loved about him, and that's what makes him so great. Is he did, in fact, infect many children under the age, and so many of them have gone on to do very creative things. I mean, some of them work in the industry. Many of them work in the industry, and I don't.
Well, I was
understand.
in my late 30s discovering Duke Nukem, and it was all because I was with a friend of mine. We found some parts of computers here and there, monitors, this and that. We played with all kinds of stuff until finally one day found a hard drive that had Windows 95 in it, and we put it into this computer. It was a monster, things sticking out all over the place, open cases, wires, everything. We found all of this junk, we put it together, and finally got the computer running. And I found somewhere a disc that had a whole bunch of demo games on it, and one of them was Duke Nukem 3D. And that was the hugest demo I have ever played. And for being pretty much my first game as a gamer, as far as first-person shooters go, I really sucked at it, and it took me about a week to finish the one episode. But it was so much fun, and what really grabbed me was the one-liners and Duke's attitude, and it was love ever since then. And I've still played that game today.
Yes, we make it I would say a weekly thing almost to play some Duke, be it co-op or Duke match.
It's like a musician keeping up his chops. You gotta play a little bit.
Well, you would think it would get old after a while because a lot of the complaints leveled against newer shooters, they're too repetitive, and in fact, when you play Duke 3D, you're being very repetitive. But there's something about it that just makes it consistently entertaining.
Exactly. All right, so I hope everybody enjoys this little commentary here, and if anybody has any questions, you can also post them on our channels, which we have two of them. One is on Facebook, and the other on but I can't YouTube. And we'll try to answer everybody's question if we can this time. And we hope you enjoy the series.
Stay tuned. It's gonna blow your fucking mind.
Exactly. Well, that about wraps it up, Steve. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right.
See you on the flip side, folks.
All right, later. Hail to the king, baby.